Welcome to Frugal Coder's channel. Today we are going to take a closer look at this Thinkpad T14s AMD version. Let's check it out. So before we go to the review, I want to let you know that the whole review will be biased because in the past around 10 years I've been a ThinkPad user and I've used a couple of classic ThinkPads. I've used T41, X201, W520, T440S, and now this T14S. I like the feeling of using the trackpoint and keyboard on a ThinkPad. From around 4 to 5 years ago, I switched to use MacBook Pro as my primary work computer. So I'll be consciously or unconsciously influenced by MacBooks and ThinkPads in this review. So keep that in mind. So the unit I have has a CPU of Ryzen 4750U, 16 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of NVMe SSD, which I upgraded it later to 1 terabyte. The price I got from Lenovo's website is slightly less than $1,100 before tax, and if you count the $140-ish SSD upgrade and tax, the total price I paid for everything is around $1,300. I'm going to share top 3 things I like about this laptop and bottom 3 things I don't quite like about it. Top 1, the build quality. Lenovo did a very good job at building a premium machine. This laptop feels very lightweight, durable, and premium at your hand. You are definitely paying extra to get that feeling, but it does give you the impression that this is a reliable, solid business companion that can be at your side whenever you have a need for it. So to be a little bit more specific, the whole material on this laptop has a mixture of the classic ThinkPad's soft touch-ish feeling and the MacBook's metallic feeling on top of that. I don't know if Lenovo is doing some specific coating material on top of it, but the feeling is very good. I tried very hard to find a spot where I could just press a little bit in, but I failed. I put that as top 1 because it is just that feeling that makes me want to use that as my computing companion, whether I was just want to check some YouTube videos or browse some website to find whatever I need. Because it's lightweight, premium, and enjoyable to use, I tend to spend more time on it than other devices like my desktop or my iPad. Top 2, the performance. This thing is a beast. The Ryzen chip inside it just rocks. There's already a lot of benchmarks on the internet about how good those low-power U-series chip really is. And on average, they're on par with the Intel's H-series laptop chip, which is a 45-watt chip. Remember, those U-series chip is only 15-watt power consumption. It's incredible that AMD squeezed so much performance into this 15-watt chip. In Cinebench R20, the laptop scored 2831 points. In 3D Mark, it scored 1023 points. I also tried to copy some files from my home's NAS server through Wi-Fi, and it averaged a read speed of 52.3 megabytes per second. I also tried to export 108 raw image from Sony camera in Adobe Lightroom. The T14s completed the task in 2 minutes 49 seconds, while my workstation with a i7-4770K overclocked to 4.5 GHz, 16 GB of RAM, GTX 1070 Ti completed the same task in 3 minutes 6 seconds. So basically, the T14s is a workstation on your fingertip. Top 3. The iconic ThinkPad elements. By saying that, I really mean the trackpad and the buttons. I don't need to move my finger to the trackpad area in order to move the mouse. The trackpad on my Thinkpad T14s is really rarely used. If you are a long-term Thinkpad trackpoint user, I believe you will know how that feeling is like. It's just awesome. My hand now just completely rests on the keyboard area. Doesn't even move down to the trackpad area at all. So that's all for the tops, and let's come to the bottoms. Bottom 1, the heat. This laptop runs hot when the workload is heavy. I mean, it runs really hot to the extent that it's burning. You don't want to rest your hand on the area that it runs very hot. So the area is in here. This is the power button, and I believe it's the CPU that's underneath it. So this whole area, this metallic area, on the edges, even on those thin areas between the keyboards, those areas are very hot. When I was just simply typing here, my fingers can be sometimes burned when pressing the key, and that's very uncomfortable. It happens pretty frequent when I was using the Lightroom to export photos, or I'm using Premiere Pro to cut videos. They run hot. If the workload is light, like watching Netflix, YouTube, or browsing the web, it's not that hot. Which is good because that's when I tend to put the laptop on my lap. Bottom 2, the battery life. So Lenovo advertised over 10 hours of battery life on their website, but in my use, it never achieves that. On the live workload, I usually get around 6, 7, or even 8 at the most hours on a single charge. If the workload is heavy, like processing videos, photos, or play some games, I get average from 3 to 4 hours. Maybe because the laptop is new and it takes some time for the battery to reach its optimal state, but that's what I got at this point. Bottom 3, display. This might be my subjective opinion, and I don't have any professional calibration tool to use. So this is just based on my eyes, but I feel this ThinkPad's display is not the same quality as other good display laptops such as Dell XPS or Apple's MacBook Pro. It just feels to me that the color on the display is not that vibrant. When put it side by side with a MacBook Pro, I could instantly tell the difference. I wish Lenovo could have some better display for this laptop, but unfortunately, the 400 nit low power anti-glare display is the best one I could have with this laptop. I don't want to get the one with the privacy guard because generally privacy guard on the display is not good for the display quality. So that's all for my tops and bottoms. Before concluding the video, I do have one more thing to call out so that you are aware of it before making the purchase. So this laptop is not very suitable for graphics intensive tasks. I tried to play some games on it. Some old games play very well, like Call of Duty 3, but for some later games, this laptop just has had a hard time to keep it up with a playable frame per second. I also tried to use this laptop to do some video editing in Adobe Premiere Pro. The edit process is okay, like dragging the timeline, it's pretty smooth. You can see a near real-time preview of that. But what's really painful is during the export time. I tried to export the same 9-minute 4K video on this laptop on my workstation. It took 22 minutes to finish the export on the laptop, while it only took 8 minutes on the workstation to finish. I believe this big difference is due to the workstation is having a much more powerful GPU to complete the rendering. And that's all. That's my thoughts on this Thinkpad T14s. Overall, I feel this is a very solid laptop, but it do have some caveats. For me, those caveats are fine because I bought it for the ultra portability. I might run some heavy tasks on it and I know it might be slow, but I'm okay with that. So overall, a solid machine. I would highly recommend, but no other thing before you buy it. Hope you folks enjoy this video and see you next time.